tremble. Praise the Lord till I lose my voice. Fail to plan, then you lose by choice. I let go of the wheel and let him choose my course. Blessings hit me in my face like a 2x4. We know when they free Smokey, he gon'.
What's going on, good people? It's your boy Man Loco, and this is my first episode. I'm trying to bring emotional awareness to men and give them a platform and a safe space to come on here and talk about life and what men go through, because most of us that grew up where I came from don't know how to express themselves in the right way and end up turning to violence, and the end result being somebody in jail or just not in a good situation. So I'm bringing this platform forward to, create a safe space for us to be able to talk about what's really going on in our minds. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I'm just tired of seeing so many of young men, especially coming from where I came from, turn to the wrong way. So this is my introductory, and I wanted to start by introducing myself. So most of you know me as Man Loco, or Man to my older homies, Man. You know, I grew up in the San Pedro projects. I was born and raised in San Pedro, born at San Pedro Hospital, 1985, and it's been a journey, man. Growing up in the projects with a single mother, raising 4 kids, my father figure was the streets. And talking about, being emotionally aware in an environment like that, you can't necessarily do that. It's still, till this day, men have to, not be weak, not show any type of emotion, or you're considered weak. And I grew up with the wolves, the gorillas, where only the strong survive. And we were taught that the strong don't cry. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's a fucking lie. Real men do cry. Shit hurts, you know? Especially growing up where we grew up, man. We either didn't have a father, lost him to the street or to the system, and none of us ever talk about that. And right here, I'm going to talk about it. So we're going to talk about me first. 3 sisters and a mother. That's why they named me Man. My auntie Camellia said one day he's going to be the man of the house, which was true. I grew up to be the man of the house with no example of a man around, So I kind of had to look around. What are my male figures? Who am I going to look up to? Because my mom could only tell me what a man is, Whatever her perception in her mind was, what a real man was supposed to be, what she didn't even know because she didn't have one. So I grew up watching what we called the hood stars. One of them being right here, Kiko motherfucking Low. Which I was lucky that he was a great example to me. Even though he didn't make the best choices in his own life, in and out of jail, but you could only imagine. I'm one kid looking up to one of these hood stars, and luckily, he was somebody that took care of me, who pointed me in the right direction. Not all the time. I made my own choices. Most of my friends did. And most of us grew up the same exact way. Single parent home, looking up to gang members who also looked up to other gang members who didn't have a father. So this was the way we started life. With the gorillas, with the wolves, dog eat dog. you know? And we wonder why most of us are either dead or in jail. This is what we grew up with. No time for healing, no time for crying. So most of us got in this life, and it's tough, man. It's tough. Even though we had a very, very good childhood, we played outside, we played sports together, we seen what everybody had to go through as a kid growing up where we grew up. I had all my friends, I still have the same friends. But when it comes down to us being emotionally aware of what's really bothering us, we couldn't really talk about it. We thought motherfuckers was being, oh, you're being a bitch. That's the biggest. Come on, man. Anybody who grew up in my era, they already know this nigga's a bitch because he's crying about some shit. So guess what? We see that shit and we go home and it's just like, damn, something's bothering me, but I can't cry about it. I ain't no bitch. This is how most men, especially around my age or, even nowadays, grow up, which is sad. And I'm just here to change that trajectory and let everybody know that life, you're not being prepared for life right if that's the way you're going to handle things, man. You need to be able to communicate and talk about what's really going on. I never got the chance to talk about how things bother me about, not having a father around. You see certain things, you have your homies, their dads coming to their games. Mine isn't, you know, dad's in the home teaching a man structure. I didn't have that. I had a very strong mother. Don't get me wrong. She raised a great man. And I'm so lucky to actually have her raise me alone because she was very strong and she did a great job. But every man needs a father there for a different type of structure. You know, not only that, your father teaches you how to control your emotions. So many people that grew up where I grew up or of that era, we react off of emotion. Another reason why most of us are dead or in jail. And it's sad, you know, and most of the time we can't even cry about it. We got to look at it like, yeah, we lost a soldier, which is true, man. We all know what we signed up for when niggas start gang banging or doing the stuff that we got involved with. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. So I just want everybody to know there's so much more I could peel back layers of how I grew up and where I grew up and how it affected me. But this is why I have two people here close to me, um, which are also my co-producers of the show, Jay New and my nephew Stat Matt. And we're gonna start by them, asking me questions and me elaborating on anything that I haven't really peeled back the layer to.
So, what do you think this platform for you is going to build on for, like you said, grown men that aren't necessarily allowed to show their feelings?
I just I wanted to create a lane where motherfuckers feel safe to say what's on their mind and they don't feel like a bitch when this is going on. You know, cuz I'm going to have people on here, my homies that did 13 years who aren't afraid to express how they feel now. And I believe that if these kids see they big homie, expressing how they feel, or somebody that they look up to expressing how they feel, maybe it would have helped them out. It will help them out to, start being expressive and emotionally aware of what's really hurting you, so you don't make the same mistakes that my friends made or that I've made.
With that being said, just how we speaking about breaking the cycle. So, what moving forward? How do you feel like having a kid and just being down there, being in the same environment? How do you feel like
just breaking the cycle, how do you feel like that's just like something you can do, in which like the recipe right now, how can you give someone advice just to try to do that, actually, to try to break the cycle? My bad. That's the real question I want to ask you.
Um, I like the word recipe that you use
Hmm.
because there's no real actual recipe to changing a cycle. You know, just like in food nowadays, the recipe is different damn near all the time. So depending on where you grew up and how you grew up, there's going to be a different recipe. But I believe me using this platform, you start to figure out where it starts. You can't start healing unless you start figuring out what's really hurting you. So, me for instance, my one of my biggest hurts was my father not being there, bro. You know, and it always bothered me unconsciously. I didn't even know because from when I could remember, he wasn't there. You know, he came around. I'm not gonna play him to the left like that all the way. He came around every once in a while, but he wasn't there. You know, through the biggest moments. You know, first time I get in a fight at school, or what, baseball games, football games. You know, of course, there's always a story to why somebody's not there and why your parents didn't work out, but this is where it starts. You have to start by knowing where the hurt is coming from.
But do you feel like even if your dad came around once you were already into the function and tried to be a dad, do you think that would even, I mean, really help you? Because at that point, you're already into what you were into, gang banging,
Mhm.
what you signed up with. Like,
It's a good question.
Um, no, to answer your question, absolutely not. I'm already a young man at this point, you know. So the decisions that I'm making and the people that I'm already looking up to, I'm looking up to them. This is why it's so vital for men to be there for their son. If he was there from day one, I wouldn't even question it. I wouldn't even be looking up to these dudes. He would be there teaching me what a man really is supposed to be. So now that I have my own son, I could change that. I know what I needed as a little boy. So I'm able to give this to my son. But the crazy part is some people that grew up the same way, they continue the cycle instead of changing it. Motherfuckers think it's cute that their son is cussing and throwing up gang signs and shit. I'll be fucking damned. I will be fucking damned. But not everybody thinks the same way that I do. And I believe that we need more people from the hood, more hood niggas, more hood stars, as I used to look up to them, you know what I'm saying? To start being vocal about that this isn't what the fuck you want to be a part of, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's not all roses, all this internet banging and shit. Motherfuckers pointing their gun in the damn camera. That shit ain't cool. You're incriminating yourself, dummies. But if you have a father there that taught you some structure, that shit wouldn't happen. We need better dads.
So, like, speaking of, like you said, waving the guns and all that, do you think it's the big homies' fault, or it's the little homies not listening? Like, what do you think? This generation right now, looking at it and just seeing what's going on, do you think it's the big homies' fault for not really getting on these niggas, or it's just these little niggas just don't?
or their dad's fault too?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, literally, like,
Yeah.
is
Well,
it all fall?
we can start there. We can start that it starts at the home. So that again, no father figure there, you know. And then most of the time their father's in jail, and their mom gets with another nigga the same type of way, and they think this gangbanging shit is cool. Nobody's telling them it's not cool. So that's when it comes to the big homies. You know what I'm saying? I believe, luckily, I had a good big homie who's telling me that this this ain't the way to go. This is what I do, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm a shooter. This is what I do. This isn't for you. He's seen it in me. You know what I'm saying? He's seen that I could be more than just what he's doing. So I believe that big homies need to start taking these young niggas under their wing a little bit more and start putting them up on some money instead of just giving them a gun and letting them go do whatever the fuck they want to do, man.
Preach on that one, brother.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I
You hit
mean,
it on the nail with that one. Yeah, that's facts.
So, I mean, this generation, I think it's just they see what they see and they're gonna be what they want to, see on these music videos and everything like that. And you've preached millions of times about no guns in your music videos, don't use a gun. So for me, I just what do you think needs to be done by these big homies again and fathers and mothers and everybody, because it's not just the moms, the dads. There's a lot that goes into that. So what do you think needs to be done to hold these kids at a higher standard?
start holding them accountable. One of the things I didn't learn, and it fucked up my relationships with what we'll be talking about on this show. We talk about my own personal relationships with women, you know, and how being raised by a woman by herself, you don't, as a man, I didn't know how to take accountability. Everything was everybody else's fault. Everything was my dad's fault because he wasn't there. I didn't know this because my dad, or once you start taking accountability, um, it changes your whole life. Now, again, it starts in the home. Man, my son's 2 years old and I hold him accountable for what he knows. If he knows what he's doing, I'm going to be on his helmet about that. No, you know what you're doing. And I'm not playing with him. He's 2. Imagine a father who holds you accountable for everything that you do. You're not going to make these dumb decisions. I mean, nobody's perfect. Of course, every kid isn't going to turn out perfect, but you start teaching them at a young age. And these kids nowadays, a lot of them, man, some of them have their daddy. Their daddy's from the hood. But I don't get why this is what you would want your son to do. But every parent's different. And sometimes it's too late to talk to your kid, just like you were talking earlier. Like, oh, what if he came back into your life at 13? Sometimes there's a father in the house and tries to put his foot down when the kid is 13 instead of holding him accountable when he's 2. Now you can't do shit about that. He's a little nigga already. He's a young nigga. He's not gonna listen to you. He gonna test you. It's gonna happen regardless. A man is gonna test their father. It's going to happen. But if you keep talking to him and instill that fear in him and let him know I'm not playing with you, it's going to be a long time before they do that.
Yeah, that's factual.
Yep. Well, speaking on parents, let's go to the mother's side. So, do you think, like, as young men, do we like attract something like our moms? Like, if we see the moms like not all the way there or whatever, do we attract like the same thing? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you speaking on that is huge because um most of the women that I've ever attracted that I have, a relationship with, they're so much like my mom. And you got to think about it. Your mother's your first love. Your example of what a woman's supposed to be. And my mom was broken. She was a broken woman, man. Fucked up relationships, divorced from my father. I hate men type shit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm finding these broken women and I'm trying to fix them so they won't leave me. Not knowing when I'm trying to fix them, I'm not thinking about myself or bettering myself. I'm letting go of things that I stand on just to try and fix this woman and make her a better person, make her more like the good parts of my mom. The whole time they're disrespecting me, and I'm taking all this abuse and I'm also giving them abuse at the same time. you know. But that's me my first example of a woman was a broken woman, and it took me years down the line to tap into that, to start realizing why none of my relationships are working. I'm not holding myself accountable, and I'm trying to fix broken women. You can't fix nobody. They have to want to fix themselves. And if they love you, they're going to change for you. Sometimes it's okay to let the relationship go. Like, nah, you're just in a different place as me, you know what I'm saying, than me right now. I'm growing, and you're not. You're not healing yet. It's not your job to heal anybody. So that was like one of the biggest mistakes that I was making, and it was because I was raised by a broken woman, and that's the example I had of what a woman's supposed to be.
On that, I got it.
Well, Matt sent it this week about changing, and another question comes from him right now. So and for me too, bro, I grew up with two brothers and, two cousins that I consider my sisters that I grew up with since crib. How do you feel growing up with all sisters? How do you think, let me rephrase that. How do you think growing up with all sisters sculpted you into a man?
I think I think that's probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Um it molded me into the person that I am right now. It's easier to talk to your sisters about stuff that hurt your feelings than talking to your brothers. Um Luckily my brothers were my homies. Um so me having nothing but sisters, they they took care of me, bro. As they do to this day. And I wouldn't be the man I am without either one of them, you know? And I believe me growing up with sisters in the jungle, it's like who who protects the children, who goes and hunt for the food, the lioness. And I was raised by four strong ones, so I believe it molded me into the man that started to tap in and started to try to heal, because I had a great example of my sisters also healing, you know? They went through a lot too growing up without a dad. It's totally different for a woman, and I've seen the transitions that they made. You know, two of my sisters are married, one of them isn't. I could tell the difference between all of them, and how they took, you know, my pops not being there, you know? So, I mean, again, answering your question, I think that's the best thing that ever happened to me, growing up with all women.
Is there anything else that you want, not only, men, women, your own relationships, being able to come to this platform and open up? Is there anything more you want to come from this platform for you with Two and a Half Men?
I just want a little bit of change, you know? I just want, like I said, more minorities, more men who didn't have a good example, to actually see real examples of what healing really is. Because I'm still healing to this day. We all are. If you think that you're going to get better in one day, it's not going to happen. But now with this platform, I'm also going to have women on here too, to talk about, what they expect out of men, and how we can respond to it, because, you know, men aren't great communicators. And to be honest with you, women aren't great listeners. So we are in this era where we have both of these things going on, when in all actuality, something like this with a mediator or two, you could realize, like, God damn, I was fucked up. Like, I was really fucking up my own relationships, or this is why I don't have a man, or this is why I don't have a bitch. You know? Sometimes you need to talk about shit, and this is what this platform is going to be about.
Okay, well, with getting that name, man, as a young, so young, and being the young, you're the youngest, right?
Yes.
Being the youngest and getting that name.
Nigga, you
Did,
should know that.
I was about to say, I literally I had to double check.
You're his
I'm
nephew, dumb shit.
like, yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, just getting that name so young and just being the youngest, like carrying that the whole time. How did that fuck with you, or how did that like did that gas you up, or like what did that do?
um, I believe that it made me one of a kind, man. Um, my name being Man, like everybody knew my name was Man. Still to this day, there's a couple people that try to fuck with me or that really know me that call me by Alfredo. But that name, um, once my aunt gave it to me, she used to always remind me as well. And you know this, Matt. Um, my auntie Camellia, she's really good at just keeping something in your brain. You know what I'm saying? And she named me Man, but when she used to see me, she used to tell me, keep your name clean. And I never knew what that meant. I never knew what that meant. I used to just always listen to her, okay, Auntie, to go play or go start cussing somewhere. I don't know. Little badass kid. But as I got older, I started to realize what she meant by keep your name clean, you know? And that's being a man of integrity, man. I'm not gonna sit here and say I've done the right things or I'm still doing the right things, but I am a man of integrity. And I'll take integrity, a man of integrity over any other man ever. You know what I'm saying? Even a woman with integrity. I'll take integrity over love any day.
How do you feel the streets are now is to when it was before?
It's not even close to some of the things that we had to deal with. It's first of all, it's harder to commit a crime nowadays because anybody could just pull out their phone. There's cameras everywhere. You know, not only that, these stupid ass kids incriminate themselves by pointing the gun that they use in the crime in a fucking video or on their Instagram. Stop doing that shit. Um, but back then, I believe the game was a little more raw because you had to be outside the gangbang. Niggas had to see you. They had to like, nah, that's that nigga. They can't just go on the internet and see like, oh look, there goes so and so. Nah, they had to go to the block. They had to be outside. Nowadays, these kids don't have to be outside. They just all on the internet. Um, which I'm not taking anything away from their era. Everybody's era is different. I just know that ours was definitely way more harsh than what it is now. There's a lot of fake shit that goes on nowadays. A lot of, you know, I guess what they call nowadays just internet bangers. And you didn't have much of that back in the day, nigga, because niggas is gonna catch you outside. And if they don't see you outside, then you ain't nobody, bro. You talk. You're a bluffer.
Speaking on the streets, man, it's real out there. So how is it like losing people? Have you lost people? Like, well, obviously I know, but this is for the viewers. Like,
Yeah.
like speak on that. Just losing people and how real it is. Like the streets are like that.
Um, it's sad because I've come numb. I've I'm numb to it nowadays. 12 years old, I lost my first homie to well, that's when I lost the first homie that I was actually close to. I've seen murder before that, unfortunately. Um, but that's the one that affected me the most was when Perry passed away. Um, it changes you. especially when it happens to you so young. I'm 12 years old, 13 years old. Perry's 16. Um, and I don't think you really know how it affects you until it actually affects you, you know? And I didn't know how that affected me till years later, man. It comes with a lot of shit, man. PTSD. It's funny because we make fun of each other for being so, me and my homies, man. Like, there's a lot of them that are just like, oh, who's that, cuz? Oh, man, that's just PTSD, bro. Motherfuckers can't even be outside by checking. Hey, who's that? Who's this? Who's coming down the alley? Bro, that shit isn't normal. But let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? This shit isn't normal. We deal with this shit like it's normal. But nah, bro, it's called PTSD, bro. From shit that we grew up, from hurt, from being shot at. You know what I'm saying? This shit is real. It is real. And the first time I experienced that was when Perry got killed. You know? And in all honesty, man, I don't even know if I'm still like over it to this day. You know? But that's something that most of me and my friends had to deal with. And who knows how they're dealing with it. I'm not in their head. But yeah, I mean, it affects you, Matt. I'm still fucked up from it. Man, I have a homeboy going through surgery on his brain right now who got shot, a year ago. It's just like, it's normal to me though. This shit is normal. My homies get shot. My homie died. You know what I'm saying? It's normal. You know? But if you talk about it to other people, man, they lost one person in their life. I could count 13 just off top.
Mm, shit, I think we got pretty personal. Speaker, you got anything else? I'm
Yeah, I
trying to think right
I
now.
think you I think you pretty
Yeah.
much gave him a little
Intro.
bit of what is to come with this podcast,
Mhm.
this platform, especially for men, women, and yourself to just
Yeah.
reflect and heal. I
Mhm.
mean, like you said, a lot of people don't get to heal, bro. A lot of people don't understand what healing is. They just go by their day how it is.
Mhm.
So that being said,
Yeah, man.
I
Get
think
up.
you just
It's a good
yeah,
intro. Good
give it
intro.
give
Yeah.
us give the viewers what you're gonna be coming with up soon, and
Yeah, comment, hashtag. You can ask questions.
yeah,
Ask us questions in the
Yes,
comments,
yes.
and
I
we'll
mean,
we'll use
I
that. We'll
definitely
use
I
that.
definitely want the audience to get
Yeah, for sure. Get
involved.
involved.
If there's any questions that you guys may have or topics that you would want me to talk about. Um,
I'll be posting it
Donation.
on
yeah,
Matt Dice.
I'll be
yeah.
Matt
posting
Dice.
it on the Dash Talk every week before he comes on
Mhm.
for topics or questions you guys, the viewers, will like to see. So
Yeah, you did that. That's dope.
But yeah, man, I just want to thank, my co-producers for being here and helping me with this with my introductory. And I just want my people to know, man, please subscribe, view, repost. Um, I'm here, to make a change, at least when it comes to men being emotionally aware. We're all going to make our decisions. We all have done things, but we need to know where this hurt is coming from and change the trajectory for our children. So that's me. That's Manlope. And this is 2.5 Men. And we'll be talking to y'all soon.